And what we are going to do is change things up a little bit. We are going to have a new secretary, so to speak, to take minutes. Janice, if you would take the roll call, greatly appreciate it.
Councilman O'Flaherty.
Present.
Councilman Costello Jr.
Yes.
Councilman Fazio.
Here.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
And Supervisor DePiero.
Present. Thank you. Okay, welcome all. I'm going to move the agenda around a little bit. First, before we do that, I would just let you guys know that there is no public hearings tonight. We are going to have several additions. But first off, I would like to make a motion not to read the minutes of the previous meeting. I have a motion on the floor not to read the minutes of the previous meeting with a second. All in favor? Aye. Approved. So carried. And I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. So at this time, what I would like to do, just because there's a lot of folks here that are visiting and it's kind of a joyous occasion, I would like to first welcome our police department. Thank you very much for coming down. And welcome one of our employees who is decided to retire and is moving on. But I would like to introduce the chief for a presentation.
Good evening, everybody. I'm pretty much been with the town of Plattekill. I'm in my 11th year. Out of those 11 years, I was 9 years undercover. Although I was working for the town of Plattekill, I didn't really work directly with Lori Soprano. That's why I would prefer that the deputy chief work with her directly and knows her better. And I think out of respect for her, I think I would turn it over to him.
Well, thank you, Chief.
See that?
All right, so I'm the deputy chief. I've been here going to my 21st year. I was here when we brought Lori on board. Lori Soprano was our confidential secretary for the police department. I don't know if there's enough words to describe the job that she did for that police department in this town. Confidential secretary is a position that requires to be confidential. That is the most important thing about a confidential job. And to have that, you have to have the trust and the faith of somebody. The chief, the prior chief, myself, when I was a lieutenant here, we gave Lori a lot of information that she needed to distribute for us in different ways. So I personally cannot thank her enough for the 15 years of service that she gave us to this town and to this police department. So with that, I'd like to give her, along with the members of the police department, especially the retired Detective Riley that's here, that worked with Lori for a long time, the DARE program, and the work that she did and helped him and certain things that she did. Lori was a big part of the Plattekill barbecues that we're doing again, which is coming up for the honor of the Bruce Locher pig roast that we're going to be doing. She went around a couple years in a row and got all the gifts that we gave away and the flowers and stuff. She was very dedicated and very, very confidential to the police department. So on behalf of that, Lori, you come up here for a minute, please. Lori, on behalf of all the members of the Town of Ulster Police Department in this town, we want to say thank you to you for your dedication. Wait a minute now. For your dedication and your continual faithful dedication and service over the past 15 years. July 31st, 2009 to June 30th, 2024, Town of Ulster Plattekill Police Department. Congratulations. I think Lori's going to be spending most of her time. She has an extra place down at Myrtle Beach, so I don't blame her. I'd be getting on a plane more often myself and going down to Myrtle Beach and enjoy myself.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the town board for the time and effort they gave us to do this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Again, gentlemen, thank you. For the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you need something, call us.
You got it.
Mark, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we will continue our September 17, 2024 regular town board meeting. Okay, we are at our additions. The additions. First, I'd like to make a mention that Plattekill Day is this Saturday, the 21st. Please let your family, friends, everybody know. Should be a great day. Our Plattekill comprehensive meeting is going to be held next Wednesday, September 25th, at 6:30 p.m. here. That is also posted on our website as well as our Facebook page and throughout the community. Also, the next thing is I guess we should have put this under old business, but I guess I can take care of it now. We added it a little bit late because we got some numbers back, and that would be our golf cart replacement. So, gentlemen, if you look at our original letter, the original letter was from our highway superintendent, and it was dated 7/25/2024, replacement options for the golf cart at the park. In 2001, the town board purchased a used golf cart for the purpose of maintaining the park grounds. This 30-year-old cart has served the park well with 23 years of expansion since the purchase and looking forward to the growth potential. I am suggesting the town board consider replacing the old cart. Since 2001, the town has purchased more property, increased the size of the park. With the amount of acreage and development of the park, I am suggesting the town board purchase and replace this vehicle. The maintenance and setup of the events, parks have increased significantly. At the park has increased significantly since 2001. Many of the events that are currently held at the park were either non-existent or held at other locations in 2001. With a newly developed trail system, we have more residents walking the fields and trails. In an emergency, we could assist emergency services if needed. There are other town events that the utility vehicle can be utilized for. Looking forward to the potential future development of the park, I would suggest a commercial rated utility vehicle. So please review the 2024 John Deere Gator XUV 835M 4x4 utility vehicle. Under advisement from the dealer, we are suggesting the gasoline engine. This model, as priced, does have a dump cargo box. The above-mentioned utility vehicle and equipment can be purchased on the Sourcewell contract as shown on the quote from the United Ag and Turf located in Hudson, New York. So this was the original proposal, and this proposal was for that John Deere, XUV 835M 4x4. The total cost of that unit delivered to our facility is $30,349.01. That being said, we've also reached out and got a couple of other quotes. One of the other requests was, I have a letter here dated 9/9/2024 after having a conversation with Councilman O'Flaherty regarding the request to purchase a replacement utility vehicle at the park. I have received a price quote from Kubota KTV 1100. Please see the attached price quote for the Kubota RTV 1100 for Marshall equipment. The delivery price utilizing Sourcewell pricing would be $25,693.23. That unit is a diesel unit, so I would have to assume a lot more power. We also reached out under the Sourcewell contract, state contract with Bobcat, and the Bobcat we looked at was a utility vehicle UV34 gas utility, and the delivery price on that was $18,163.57. And going back under the recommendations of the highway superintendent with the John Deere XUV 835M, model year 2004, I looked at that and asked the dealer to give us a price. The original price quote was for a cab with heat, air conditioning, and glass around the cab, and basically asked them for a cab model that had a roof, windshield in the front, which would be similar to the other units, and that price was $20,206.56. So those prices, just my opinion, the best value for what we're looking for is the updated price quote, ID 313-15773, and that would be the John Deere which was originally recommended. Just the only changes would be it wouldn't have a heated cab or air conditioned cab. It would be a strictly open cab, and it would have netting for the doors, very much similar to a golf cart. But discussion, gentlemen?
What's the Bobcat? Does it have a cab, air conditioning?
No. The Bobcat would be the same setup as the John Deere. It would have a roof onto it, and it would have the front windshield. And basically, it is virtually the same machine. It's a little bit less horsepower. There was a couple of other differences, tires, not drastic. But basically, it is a Bobcat, and I believe that Polaris makes that machine for Bobcat, and it's sold under the Bobcat name. I think the size of the tires were a little bit smaller onto it.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, there was a couple of differences, but not a great.
And it also has a dump body, correct?
Both of them have a dump body, but both of them are manual dump. There is no electric. You can put an electric assist, but as quoted, I believe he just verbally quoted that, and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,700 just for the ability to push a button and have it dump on its own.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think they wanted them more for, I would assume, carrying around equipment.
Yeah.
Whether it's chainsaw,
and you
shovel,
can still dump
brakes.
it, but it's a manual dump.
And do we have attachments that will go on to this if need be?
This particular model, keep in mind it's a UTV. So UTVs do come with options. Neither one of these UTVs, I should say, came through with a winch onto it.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I did have to the salesman in each place is what would the price of the winch be? And to be quite honest with you, the winches were any place from $1,700 on up to about $3,000. So I figured that if it was something that we were going to attach, there's an aftermarket possibility probably for 50 or 25% of that price, quite a bit less. So that being said, the other options that are actually popular with a UTV would be a snowplow. This unit isn't going to be used in the wintertime. It's basically going to be in storage for the winter, and it's utilized during the summer months. We close the park, per se, during the winter.
Right.
So,
They're four-wheel drive.
just a question. Apples to apples, these are essentially the same machine.
I would say that the John Deere probably offers a lot, a little more bells and whistles, so to speak, a little more creature comforts.
Yeah.
But size-wise, they're very close in size. I think the John Deere might be just a little bit physically, just a very small amount larger.
Okay.
Probably not that we would not even notice it.
Is the warranty on the John Deere 1,000 miles also? Or is the one on the Bobcat, it says already.
I got to tell you, there's a lot of them that are limited warranties.
Hours. I'm sorry, 1,000 hours.
A lot of hours.
That's an awful lot of hours. But keep in mind, it also, when you start talking about warranties for like engine parts, transmission parts, there's a lot of caveats to that where they turn around and they say normal wear. So something that's going to be warranted at 100 hours is going to be differently warranted at 800 hours.
Okay.
I think you're splitting hairs. Pick a color almost.
Excuse me?
No, I was
Almost
picking
pick a color
Yeah.
between the Bobcat or the.
Well, they're, so to speak. I mean,
Yeah, Bobcat.
I think, to be honest with you, I don't want to say, I'm going to say uneducated opinion. With a little bit of knowledge in talking to the folks that I've spoken to, it appears to me that the John Deere is more of a utility type machine rather than get out and hit the trails and have fun for the weekend. I'm not saying the Bobcat is not, but I think that the John Deere is built specifically by John Deere for that specific use.
Yeah.
The Bobcat sells another product, which is common, in all the industries. But I'm just looking at it apples to apples and going on to the previous recommendation of the highway superintendent.
Yeah, that's the one.
It basically is essentially the same exact model. It is a model.
So with the
Get the green one.
I'd say go with the Bobcat. With the John Deere. I don't know about anybody else.
Mr. Fazio?
What was the price difference between the two again?
About $2,000. A little less than, about $1,900.
It's like for $2,000. I would say the John Deere.
Stop instead.
I like the John Deere. I've had nothing but bad experiences with Bobcat.
All right. So I will entertain a motion.
A motion to purchase the John Deere for the park.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. So that being said, the selling price is $2,206.56.
20,000.
I'm sorry, $20,206.56. I'm sorry. I'm kind of thinking ahead here. Basically, that's the price that I have on here. If there's any other additions or whatever, or if there's any changes, I will let you know. But I would also like to entertain a motion to have the supervisor sign for that purchase.
I'll make a motion to have the supervisor sign for the purchase of the John Deere XUV 835M.
Okay, and the selling price of?
Selling price of $20,206.56.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. I will make that call tomorrow and put that into motion.
I mean, it is 2024.
Yes.
Late model.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a little discount.
Don't start. That will be for spring.
And just on another note, following that up, the golf cart that's there, what's going to be done with that?
I would recommend, I don't know what the board, and I'm glad you brought that up, thank you. I would recommend that we put that out for bid and get rid of it. It served us well. I don't really foresee any need to keep it. I have also had a discussion with the highway superintendent in the past, and basically, why are we going to replicate equipment that we don't?
Right, it'll be in one piece sitting there.
We don't have the room for it. It served us well. Let's get rid of it while there's some value into it. We'll put it up for bid, maybe put an ad in the paper, and see what we can do with it. All righty? And if you would like to make a motion on that, I'm okay with that. You want to make a motion to do that after the purchase? Let's wait until
We'll wait till after
the purchase goes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cart replacement. Also, addition, Mr. Hoppenstead, I saw on social media you attended a meeting on this battery storage with somebody else from the county.
Yes.
Would you like to give a report on that?
So, Kevin called me up and said that he had a meeting with
Kevin?
County Legislator Roberts.
Okay.
Called me and said he had a meeting with the battery storage and asked if I was around. So I stopped in, and he asked what it would take to come into the town, and I told him there's no way it's going to come into town. We're not for it. It's not a good fit for this town.
Well, let's clear that up. That was your
With my opinion.
Your opinion. The rest of the board is we're going to take a look at. I don't want to speak for the rest of the board. My opinion is it's not that it's not good for the town or it is good for the town. My desire is to educate ourselves as best we can and come up with the most educated decision that we can concerning environmental impact, economic impact, safety, a lot of things. But yes, I don't know what the rest of the board feels, if they replicate what my opinion of it or not.
I did bring up to him that it's very close to the watersheds, and a 50-foot buffer is not much of a buffer. And he said that he wanted to reach out and do more community outreach.
Well, we actually also have the committee who's working on it, and I believe as we talk now, the moratorium's being written up now,
Yes.
and then a law, we're going to work on a law after that. So
I did not tell him anything about the moratorium.
I'm just saying, I'm just talking to
Who was the people that you spoke with? Do you have a card or anything?
No, he didn't give me his card.
All right.
And I can't remember his name.
All right. So that being said, I will let the public know once more that we did speak to legal counsel, and we are headed towards a moratorium on battery storage in the town of Plattekill with the intent to look at all possibilities of safety and looking at where it would fit, where it would not fit, and basically trying to make the most educated decision we can as we move forward. There's no anticipation of a conclusion other than the best possible conclusion that we can come to after we educate ourselves along that path. I don't want to give anybody any kind of a false hope, so to speak, or a direction other than we are going to research everything we possibly can. And I've stated in earlier meetings that we had basically hit the ground running several months before that was even presented at the town as a conceptual by the folks who are interested in doing that. And we formed a committee, and they've been doing their due diligence and gathering a lot of information, which has been fantastic. So I really appreciate the committee for doing that, and definitely support you as you move on. All right. Is there anything else, Mr. Hoppenstead?
Not at this time.
Okay. The other thing, I might as well get you why I got you here. The employee's manual. Are you doing anything on that? Have you looked at that?
I've started to read it.
Yeah.
I'm almost done reading it, and then I can start working on other.
Okay. Make sure you're staying in
I wanna read
contact
the whole
with
thing
Mr. Flaherty
first.
with that. And also the sign law. Have you looked into that?
I've started to, yes.
Good. Nothing to report on that either?
Not yet.
All right. Okay, good. And additions. Is there any other additions?
I guess this would be an addition. A couple weeks ago, I was in the town hall talking to the town clerk, and a woman walked in, an older woman, and that was during July when the vouchers went out for dump permits.
That was the free.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the free voucher. And her question was, this particular person, I guess they owned 5 or 6 houses, homes. She had one dump permit, and she's like, how come I can only get one voucher? And I'm like, you know what? I'll bring it up in a meeting. I'm assuming if you have one dump permit, you get one voucher.
Yeah. I think that's how it was originally designed. So the permits go by residence.
Yes.
So if you are residing in the same residence, you get a dump permit. And then you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you can pay for a second permit if you have a different vehicle. That being said, it's still the same number, still under the same residence. So for all intents and purposes, I don't think we generally live between 5 houses in a community. So you would get one dump permit for each house. And I think that's probably, I would hope that permit, that whatever they purchased the permit for and the address that they gave, that's the garbage that they're doing. So that is an interesting question.
Well, she asked me, and I said, nope, I will bring it up at the next meeting, which actually I forgot.
Yeah.
Because that was the meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Go
I
ahead.
have to say something, but this is for our regular residents. Now, you're talking a person that has 5 homes. It's a business. And they usually have maybe even 2 apartments, not necessarily one in the residence. And they have their garbage pickup normally. So this was for the people that have residence here.
Well, I guess they,
I mean, her home, but not the other 4, unless you purchased 4 more.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. I still think that each residence would be purchasing a permit for that residence.
Oh yeah, for that, yeah, I understand that part. But what I'm saying is, she wouldn't get 5 off the bat. She would have to have 5 permits in order to get 5
assigned to each one of those residents, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like I said.
Councilor Flaherty?
No, sir. Yes, I was good on that.
Okay. The other thing I jumped across, and I'm sorry, I just got this today also. We received a thank you card, and it says, Dean, I wanted to thank you and the board and take a moment and express my sincere gratitude for your participation in hosting the first annual Living Resources Olympic Games. We look forward to next year and the prospect of adding other things to our calendar. Thank you again, Donna King, Assistant Director, DCOP South. That was the Olympics that we had that was at the same time as the Olympics in Paris. And the group that came out was fantastic. We probably had about, I would say, 200 participants that were out there during the several days that they did come to the park, and even in the rain, those folks came out. To me, it was inspirational and rewarding, and I'd like to thank them for the opportunity to host that. That was great, and I look forward to doing something in the future with them as well. So that was a nice letter. So thank you for that. Okay, so we have our reports. Plattekill Police Monthly Report. I am not going to read the entire report, but I will go through them. The reports are on the back table. If they're not there, you can get them through the town clerk's office anytime. So for the Town of Plattekill Police Department, August 2024 monthly report. Calls for service, 676. Traffic stops were 374. Tickets issued, 165. Motor vehicle accidents, 9. Motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 3. Emergency medical calls, 37. Property checks, 77. Community-oriented policing project, 219. Misdemeanor arrest, 12. Felony arrest, 0. Violations, 2 arrests were 0, and psychiatric arrests were 3. In the rest of the department, I think it tells a couple of the other things that have gone on, as well as our cars and their conditions, I believe. Yes, and the mileage as well. Again, that's available either on the back table or in the town clerk's office. Yes, sir.
Public input?
Not yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I did go by that, didn't I? Yeah. So I'll tell you what. Thank you for telling me that. Let me hold up on the reports, and I will go to that. I'll make a motion at 7:26 p.m. that we open up the floor for public input.
Second.
Got a motion with second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, Mark, for telling me that. I kind of scribbled all over my page. I jumped all over the place. So now's your time for public input. Yes, sir.
I got a couple of questions. The first one is with the SUV that you're getting. Why is this company? I mean, because they have 2 United Ag and Turf. So why are they going through Hudson, New York, instead of the one that's down in Goshen, I believe? Now, they control the grant money. You have to go through them for them to tell you what's the best price to buy something?
No. Sourcewell is a purchasing company that the governments use. And what happens is the businesses get vetted through Sourcewell to be able to sell that product. It's a state contract. And it's not only state, but Sourcewell covers, I believe, federal and county, federal, municipalities, as well as Canada, I believe. So United Ag and Turf is actually owned from a parent company out of Texas, and I believe there is 800 plus stores. So quite honestly, the price you're going to get from one, you're going to get them from the other, but Sourcewell is the one who establishes the actual price. So what happens is they turn around and they go to these companies, and let's just say for you and I, if we go in and we pay $1,000 for something, and if it's vetted and they agree to be a government vendor, then they usually have anywhere from 11, 15, 25, maybe even as much as a 30% discount because it's government. And I would imagine that that's their business plan, to sell more product as opposed to selling you and I 2 or 3 of them. They can sell the government 23 of them. So that's why it's done that way. It's through an approved vendor, and that's how you do business.
So that's what you have to do with anything that...
No. Certain things you have to. Certain things you have to. That what you have to do is you have to do your due diligence and research everything. You can still put out bids, but if you have companies that have actually contracted through a company like Sourcewell, then that's what they're doing. They're setting up and being vetted to be the people that you purchase from. You can go to those folks. It would almost be a waste of time in a situation like this to go to all of the United Ag and Markets, because they're all the same. So I will tell you, in my own personal life, my wife bought a nice John Deere tractor, and we priced them through United Ag and Markets, and I wasn't happy with the price in Chester, so I said I had no problem. upstate I called, it was the identical price. I ended up calling another place upstate in Fulton, and identical price. And then it hit me, these are all United Tractors, and that's where I found out that they're buying them all up. So my wife actually made that purchase out of state, bought it in Pennsylvania, and saved a lot of money, and they delivered it to our door. So that's how you do business.
So that happens with the police cars and everything else?
Yes,
You gotta do it the same
comes
way?
off state contract, yes. That's how we buy our dump trucks for snow plowing. I believe it's the Onondaga bid that we bought the last several trucks from. The same thing with police cars. Police cars come out of approved dealerships, and that's what you do when you're looking to buy those vehicles. That's the motivation, or not the motivation. That's the appropriate way to do it because they've already been vetted, and they're going to give you the best price. Doesn't mean you still don't try to haggle them down, but that price is set. I want to think of something that we just looked at. I just looked at to get a price on, and I was pretty surprised. The UTV. The UTV from Bobcat. Well, the one from Bobcat, I know specifically. I had talked to the gentleman because I was trying to nickel and dime everything I could out of it and get that's how I found out about the winches and the dumping and everything else. I was trying to, with each one, get as much as I could. So then they said, we want to sell it to you rather than you go 100 miles up the road. I actually went to Eklund, I believe it is, up by Stamford, New York, and they sold Bobcats also, and I had previously called for them up there, and they told me on that particular model there was a 25% reduction to sell it through Sourcewell, that they weren't making a whole lot of money onto it, so good luck trying to find it cheaper. And they were the same prices wherever you went there also. They're kind of agreed upon prices. They take the market rate, they put a percentage for the deduction, and Sourcewell vets it, they approve it, and that's what they do. All right, you had another question.
Yeah, I'm just curious about this meeting that Mr. Hoppenstead attended about the lithium battery storage. What meeting was that?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask Mr. Hoppenstead.
Can I ask him?
Right ahead, please.
So the guy from the energy storage called County Legislator Roberts
Okay.
and asked him if he could meet. I think he was trying to get Mr. Roberts on board with the project. And
Well, excuse me, now, was this a just private meeting, public meeting?
it was a private meeting.
Oh, okay. And where did you guys meet?
We met at Kevin's office in Newburgh.
I see. And was it similar to, well, I don't know if you were there, at the Clintondale Firehouse, was it the same format that was discussed, or what was actually discussed?
It was just one person, and he kept asking about how he could get more public involvement in it, and what our thoughts were on it, and how we felt about the project. And he did not like the way we felt about the project.
Maybe you should tell them to have another meeting, and we'll tell them the same thing. Especially when they tell you they can't put the fire out, it's got to extinguish itself.
We did tell him that if he wanted to put more community meetings out there, he's more than welcome. He's going to get the same result.
Well, maybe if they hear it enough times,
But
it may discourage them. Because personally, I feel the public should be more involved with something like this because of the risks that are involved with this and the location where it's at. So, not taking anything away from you and Kevin, it's nice that they spoke to you, but I think it still should be in a public format where the public can participate in this, because basically people are really afraid of this. They really are, because of the hazards and everything else that go along with this thing. So, that's what I would try to convey to them, is that, bring it to the people. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Would you clarify that, please?
Please give your name.
What?
Please give your name.
Coppola, Esther, Coppola. I don't understand about this meeting. You work for Kevin?
yes, I work for Kevin
Okay.
outside of here.
All right.
And Kevin,
So you were working for Kevin. Kevin mentioned whatever. You were present.
I was in the office. Kevin kind of pulled me into his office.
and
I knew nothing about it
and
beforehand.
who else was there?
It was me, it was myself, Kevin Roberts, and the person from Mission Energy.
The person from a mission?
Yeah, from, I believe the title of it is Mission Energy. He was a representative from them.
Say that again.
He was a representative from the battery storage.
Okay, so there was like the ones that came that we listened to.
Yes, the ones that came here.
So it was impersonal, basically.
Yes.
It was nothing called. It was not a called meeting.
No.
Or anything to that degree.
No.
And what was discussed at that time?
He asked what our feelings about the project were.
Okay.
And he asked about doing community outreach, and we told him he's more than welcome to do community outreach. That's going to be his best route.
So he was looking for your advice and your input.
Yes.
Very interesting.
I don't think he liked the response.
Did Kevin call this meeting?
That I do not know.
You don't know. Okay. Or he could have just dropped in and talked to Kevin.
Right. I just happened to be in my office across from Kevin's, and Kevin yelled to me.
Gotcha.
I got it.
Thank you.
Walked into it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'll make a motion that we go out of public input at 7:36 p.m.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion on the floor with a second to go out at 7:36 p.m. Back to our regular meeting. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, back to our reports. The dog control. Town of Plattekill Dog Control. This is from Andrew McKee, Control Officer. This is Wednesday, September 4th. The overview, monthly report 8/1/2024 through 8/31/2024. We received a total of 24 calls for the month, including 3 calls to service from the New York State Police, Plattekill Police, and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 3 active complaints and or cases which are now resolved or closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open cases or complaints. Case 1. Case 1's related to a dog bite in Modena Country Club, subject to reimburse town for medical expenses of $305, no cents. Appearance tickets were served pending September court date. Case number 2, related to impound fee of $368, no cents, due to the town for a dog running at large. Appearance ticket served pending September court date. We impounded 1 stray dog this month. The dog was taken in by Northeast Great Dane Rescue. 0 appearance tickets were issued this month. There were no dog bites reported this month. We have 0 dangerous dog cases under investigation at this time. With fall weather approaching, please be mindful of leaving your dog out unattended. Residents will have windows open as sound carries further and leaves fall from the trees. The highest instances of noise complaints come during September and October. End of the report. Okay, this will be from the Building Department. The Building Department, here's a list of Building Department monthly report for August 2024. There were 49 reports, 6 violations, 0 violations closed, all inspections. This includes complaints, building violations, fire safety, CFCs, and CFOs and CFCs, 148. Complaints 5, complaints closed 3, complaints to violation 2, municipal searches 12, CC and CFCs 29, stormwater outfall inspections 0, county sales tax inspections 0. These numbers do not include returning phone calls and residents coming in for assistance with codes, building permits, zonings, and subdivision issues. I will tell you that department is one busy department. Okay, next is going to be our monthly assessment report. I always love looking at this and seeing the trends for home sales and transfers in our community. It looks like, just to reflect back to the July report, the average home sales for July and transfers was $391,000, and for August it went down slightly to $119,000. So we had, during the month of August, we had 31 transfers, 0 foreclosures, 16 arm's length sales, 2 vacant lot sales, 13 residential sales, 1 commercial sale, and 0 manufactured home sales. This is the Town of Plattekill Building and Grounds Report. Town Board, Town of Plattekill. This is from Robert Weger Sr., 9/3/2024, Buildings and Grounds Department Report. Hung Plattekill Day signs. Garage, removed, recycling, and 2, I guess that's supposed to be 1-2. To transfer station, change fuel filters on fuel tanks, replace gauge on gasoline tank, replace faulty smoke detector in kitchen, assisted repairing bay 2 garage door. Police, change front door lock in the park, weekly cleaning and maintenance, clean up and remove garbage. Town hall, remove dead rodent from ceiling. End of report. That would be our building reports. I do not have a recreation report. So when I get that, I will forward that on to you folks. And next is going to be under old business. Old business is going to be the RFP, and this was for the engineering. The RFPs that we put out for the building assessments. And I gave you guys quite a lengthy homework project here, and I appreciate and thank you very much for your due diligence on researching this. It was an awful lot of reading, I will say, and a lot of time went into this by all the members of the board. There was a lot of discussion back and forth on the different aspects of the RFP, and we did have 3 people that put in bids. And the first bid was put in by Tinkelman Architectural PLLC, 33 Arlington Avenue, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12603. That bid was for $67,750. And when we looked into this fully, it shows all the different aspects of what they do, what they will do for us, according to the RFP that we actually published and put out. And on page, of course my pages are not numbered, but on the page where it comes up with the prices, they also did the due diligence and gave us optional services as well and set the established budgets for that. So the optional services were basically, and I'm not going to read them all, but I'll just go through them real quick. So they do the existing facility asbestos sampling and testing, existing facility structural engineering assessment, existing facility mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system engineering assessment, new partial civil engineering and utility assessment, and conceptual design, and new building mechanical, electric, and if it goes to that. It also comes down on the bottom and breaks it down to the hourly rate schedule for the architectural, the principal architect, associate architect, project manager, graduate architect, AutoCAD, Revit technician, modeling specialist, clerical, administrative support, and so on. So they did give quite a detailed report. The next one was from GPI, and GPI is Greenman Pedersen Incorporated, and they're 15 Railroad Avenue, Suite 301, Kingston, New York, 12401, and also 80 Wolf Road, Suite 600, Albany, New York, 12205. And GPI is actually currently doing some projects for the town. They're involved in our bridge replacement on Old Mill Road, and their quote and proposal was pretty extensive as well. It was not as extensive as the first, but their total was $73,400. The third, again, is another company that the town is familiar with through the past years, Barton LaJudas, another very good company. And looking at their proposal, they had an awful lot of good, interesting points as well. And in reading that and talking with the board, I will tell you that price is $48,600. So looking at what the RFP was put out for originally and kind of prescribed by the board and what we put out, I put a value on each one of these bids, and I will ask you what you folks believe after researching it and reading it diligently. Mr. Hoppus, then?
I think Tinkelman is going to give us the best bang for our buck. They showed up very professional. They were very proactive, I would say. They had a lot of questions for us. They want to work with us in the future. There are a lot of people bring up future projects.
All right. So you're tending to
Tinkle.
All right. Mr. Fazio.
I would almost need a little more thinking because Tinkleman, actually their quote was the most informed, most information. The one thing I didn't see on there is, maybe I'm wrong, if somebody could correct me, Barton and Ladudis,
Yeah.
they actually said they were looking to grants that are available.
Yeah, all the engineering companies will do that. There's
Okay.
possibilities of grants, every one of them.
Okay, but they did write it down.
Yeah.
Here, I don't think
Yeah, I-
Tinkleman wrote it down.
Yeah.
Let's make sure they write it down.
So,
I'm with you.
Yes,
So-
you can write it down and do.
So all of them, to be fair, to be fair, should be writing the same thing down, that they would be looking for grants. I mean, I could take quite a bit of time and look through here. You read this several times to see
Yes,
what did not exist.
I may have missed it. I'm not going to say. I went over it probably 3 or 4 times.
Well, keep in mind also, we're at the preliminary stages, so we're at the very infancy steps of this to look what we are faced with. So the feasibility study was actually designed to look at the buildings to fix what we have, refurbish what we have, or see if the value was more value in replacing the buildings and what that would look like.
Right.
So theoretically, the feasibility study is that. So it's not really a building study or a rebuilding study at this time.
Yes, because
we're
it's
in the
different
process.
steps, phases, whatever.
And we're in the process. Although what they'll do with the feasibility study, when they look at it, they're going to, and all of them said this to be fair, that they're going to question the folks that work here. And I thought that was the
Yes.
first and most important, that you talk to the people who are actually utilizing the structure, and then they would look at that to get an idea of what it would look like if they completely rebuild it. And also, to be quite honest and be fair, they wanted to talk to the people to make sure that if they was going to reconstruct, what they would look at and what they would need. So keep in mind our buildings are from 1973. If you look around, you can actually see that, they're outdated, but not just in view, but in actual practical use. I invite anybody to take a look at the storage/conference room in the back, and that is kind of unbelievable. I think it's probably, I don't know, maybe 6 foot by 3 foot space in there at best, and that fills up with recyclables, and it's empty, constantly, but it's a very small room.
Well, anything you look at in this building, at its time, was it a good deal? Yes.
Yeah,
But the way to build a wall, you go up to the roof with it.
yeah.
These were not. The ceiling was put in, then they built the walls. That's why you could hear from room to room.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to look at. So that being said, hold your thought, Mr. Castillo.
I feel the same way
Matt?
as James and Joe Hopkins did.
Yeah. All right. So you feel the same way as far as
Having them do the work.
Tinkleman?
Yes.
Okay. So you feel confident with Tinkleman?
Yes, and the other thing is, like you said, once this all gets evaluated, then they'll search for grants or whatever.
Well, then we'll make a decision for the next step. What we're going
For the
to
next
do.
step, exactly.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to go through this process and then leave a set idle.
Oh, no, I
Buildings
understand
are in
that.
dire need of attention and have
Yes.
been quite some
No,
time.
so to me, I will go with them.
Tinkleman.
Yes. Tinkleman.
Councilman O'Flaherty.
I did a lot of reading on all these, so then I looked at all of the comparisons, right?
Yeah.
Portfolio of work that was submitted, what they've done, what they seem to kind of niche, kind of feel good in terms of building structure and what they look like. I think Tinkleman had some of the nicer buildings in terms of their portfolios. In terms of just because something is the least expensive does not mean it's the best value. So we have to look at that as well. So then you kind of throw out, let's just say the lowest one because it is not for me. So these two, I would say GPI and Tinkleman, for lack of a better term, they're very close in terms of their price. I think in terms of the detail orientation of what Tinkleman presented, it was definitely the most impressive. And then the portfolio work was, I think aesthetically is going to look the best when we're done.
Okay. So that being said, does everybody feel comfortable with making a decision, somebody making a motion onto this?
Make a motion that we continue and go forward with Tickleman.
Okay. So there's a motion on the floor to go forward with the RFP, the quote by Tinkleman Architecture, EVP LLC.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Now, the only other thing that I would like at this time is, again, that we need a motion for the supervisor to sign the contracts to make that happen.
Make a motion that the town supervisor sign the contracts with Tickleman. Can't say that.
All right. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor for the supervisor to sign the contracts with Tinkleman Architectural to proceed with our feasibility study.
Second.
We have a second. We have a second on the floor. Councilman O'Flaherty, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. All right, thank you, gentlemen. And I will get on that tomorrow. Okay. So we have our presentation we did. Budget meetings. It is budget season, guys, and I will ask you for availability. And I did write down some dates to start doing the budget meetings, and I want to see if these dates work for you. I will give you these dates, and if you can write them down, and you can actually call me tomorrow and make sure that your calendars are clear. If we have to change them up, then we'll change them, but these are the initial dates that we came up with. So October 7th.
Is this during the day or when are we?
You tell me what's better for you.
Well, I'm done.
Generally, I would say 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
You know, anywhere, I would say anywhere.
So in the afternoon,
yeah. That way it gives the folks the opportunity to come and actually be part of the meeting if they'd like to come and observe.
Yes.
So let me just see here. So the first date is going to be October 7th. The second will be October 9th. The next date will be the 15th. The next date will be the 17th. And the next date will be the 18th.
I'm going to be out of town from the 12th through the 19th.
October 12th to the 19th.
Okay.
All right. Just we'll talk tomorrow.
Yep, no problem.
And again, if you guys can give me a call tomorrow, you know, kind of call me sooner than not, just to let me know your availabilities and best times and whatever, and we'll put it together. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, I have to check my calendar.
Yep.
Make sure I don't have doctor's appointments.
Very well. Again, I kind of anticipate that we'll be looking at like 5 o'clock on, you know, depending on what the meetings are.
How many of these do you want to sequence? Like, how you want to get every one of these?
Generally, what we do is depending on how large the budgets are, you know, like the boards, the planning board, CBA, those are probably easier to do than, say, the highway department or the supervisor's office. So generally what we try to do is we try to dedicate the police department and the highway department and the supervisor's office all on their own night.
3 separate meetings.
Yeah, and then we try to, if there's any opportunity to maybe start in another one, or if they have to be extended to a second night, and we figure it out as we go.
Understood.
I will tell you this, that this year's budget is going to be absolutely crazy hard, and there's a lot of things going on. And I anticipate more I won't say, not even hesitantly, I anticipate going above that 2% tax cap. I really do. Looking at the preliminaries, the budgets that the folks have already put in and doing some numbers, I'm just coming to terms with the fact that, yes, we will probably do that law to override the tax cap. But we'll discuss that at the next meeting. Okay, so the next thing, RFP for the asphalt parking lot. I don't think it's going to be an RFP. I have to look at that. It might be just something out, putting a bid out. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I will get back to you guys on that. But what that is the parking lot at the town park and the parking area in front of the Veterans Memorial. I was able to get some monies back from one of the grants that we had, and we will have to put money together with it. But that grant will support the blacktopping of the parking lot and striping to support the Veterans Memorial. So I will let you guys know how that goes after I talk to the attorney and kind of tighten things up with that. But that might be something that we may be looking into doing, is blacktopping those two parking areas. So that's quite a large job, but it looks like that's a really good possibility of being able to accomplish that through grants. All right, any questions on that? All right, next thing is the air conditioning units. So, quite a while back, Mr. Weger sent us this is coming under our old business. He sent us a proposal. It says, please review the 3 proposals for the replacement of the 2 central air conditioning units at the town hall. At this time, I would recommend Northeast Climate Solutions for the amount of $15,500. So there was some questions at the last board meeting, and we did not pass this. And subsequently, since that past board meeting, I believe that the questions were answered. And if not, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he sent the letter and he explained why he picked that company, because I was like, let's have apples to apples. He explained it very well. So
yeah, they were the way that the quotes were written were a little bit confusing, and the actual stuff right here, the response is on here, and I believe that was satisfactory to all. And correct me if I'm wrong, but either way, at this time, I would like to make a motion that we move forward with the recommendation of the highway superintendent for the replacement of the 2 central air conditioning units for the town hall. And this time it would be presented to Northeast Climate Solutions in the amount of $15,500.
I'll second it.
I have a motion on the floor to replace those units with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I would also like to further make a motion that we support the replacement of this through our ARPA funds.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion on the floor to move forward with the replacement, financing it through the ARPA funds. With a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. All right. And I will get on that as well. I will be coming back more than likely with a resolution next board meeting to actually go through to make that payment. Next, we have town resolutions. So we have an amendment. This is resolution 2024, and it is number 62. This is for a 2024 budget amendment. The following resolution was introduced on a motion made by myself. Okay, and the motion is going to be the town board of the town of Plattekill is approved to increase revenue line A2680 and increase expense line A1910.400. This is necessary to show revenue and expense for receipts of return premium vehicle equipment deleted received from Marshall and Sterling for the town of Plattekill. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Plattekill, Ulster County, amended the year of 2024 general fund budget increase revenue line A2680 insurance recovery and expense line A1910.400 unallocated insurance in the amount of $5,416.00. Be it further resolved that funding shall be supported by a receipt of a $5,416 no-cent check, number 88834, and this is M&T Bank from Marshall and Sterling. So this is a check that we received for the vehicles and equipment that we took off the insurance policy with the anticipation of selling it at auction. And it was the monies that we recovered because we no longer had the necessity to insure those vehicles. And that is quite a sum of money, $5,416. So that's a motion to amend that budget line.
I'll make a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. That was a good recovery. Okay, we have amendment. We'll start off here. Town of Plattekill Resolution number 63. Number 63 of 2024, Amendment Resolution number 58, Removal of the mulch at Thomas Felton Park. I will make a motion to adopt the following resolution, number 63 of 2024. Whereas the Town of Plattekill authorized removal of the old playground mulch to be funded by the ARPA Funds American Rescue Plan Act for the amount not to exceed $10,000. And whereas the Town of Plattekill desired to remove the old playground mulch at Thomas Felton Park utilizing the ARPA Funds American Rescue Plan Act, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to have the mulch removed in the amount not to exceed $10,000 for the removal of the old playground mulch at Thomas Felton Park. That was an amendment just to drop the name for the specific person that's removing it, due to the fact that there may be a different contractor that actually removes that. So that's a motion, gentlemen.
I'll second that.
Have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. And Resolution 2024, number 64, General Fund Budget Amendment. And this is the following resolution, is introduced by a motion made by myself. Whereas the Town Supervisor has requested a transfer in the amount of $2,000 from A1990.400 to A.3510.400. Whereas this transfer is necessary to cover the cost of the vet bills for the remainder of 2024 year. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill, Ulster County, to amend the 2024 General Fund budget with a decrease of expense line A1990.400 2024 General Fund budget with a decrease, I read that again, contingent account in the amount of $2,000 and increase in the expense line of A3510.400 dog control in the amount of $2,000. Be it further resolved that funding shall be supported by a transfer of $2,000 from A1990.400 contingent account to A3510.400 dog control in the amount of $2,000. So that is a motion. And looking for a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 in favor, 4 in favor, 1 opposed, so carried. Okay, at this time, we're going to do the transfer. So it's a notice of Plattekill notice of appropriations of transfer form, department and division, code number A1990.400. Line item description, contingent account, the amount of $2,000 for a total of $2,000 transferred to the department division. Code number A3510.400, dog control. Amount $2,000. This would be for a total of $2,000. Reason for the transfer. This transfer is necessary to cover the cost of the vet bills for the remainder of 2024. Okay. Next, we have, I am going to go make a motion that at 8:05 p.m. that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor to go into executive session at 8:05 p.m. to discuss personnel matters with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Any action later?
We have the vouchers left.
Not on the personnel.
I don't know. That's why we're going into executive session. But we will make it as quick as we can.